Yeah. This is my second effective speaking class. Today's going to be on Harry Potter. All right. So, Harry Potter is the most successful book franchise of all time. So, I'd like to just inform you guys on its impact socially, monetarily, the films, and just, what the book has meant to me as a whole. Okay, I've read them all. I've seen them all. I think most people have. I'm going to show you the numbers, and I think the numbers bear out that I think we've all pretty much heard about them. So today we're going to talk about The Boy Who Lived. And to all you muggles in the room, that's Harry Potter. Non-magic people, that's what muggles mean. That's my one joke for the... It was good. Okay? So here's the deal. Harry Potter is literally the most successful franchise by a wide margin. There are... In this, they count all the side books, but what I like to focus on is just the regular Harry Potter books, the 8 books. He has sold over 500 million copies. To put that into context, the second highest series is Goosebumps, and they sold 350 million. Something in a similar genre, which I know maybe some of us older people have read, is The Lord of the Rings, 150 million for all 4 books. So, as you can see, Harry Potter's had a massive, massive global effect. All that comes from Bloomsbury.com has it on there, So, I think if you look at comparable books in The Lord of the Rings and Goosebumps, which is another child's franchise, you put them together, you still don't have what Harry Potter did on its own, And then, so you would say, where does that rank with nonfiction, regular books? Well, I've handed out a leaflet here. Also, I'll show it to the camera. 10 most read books in the world. This is on an artist by Jared Fanning, based on a guy named James Chapman's research. Harry Potter is the 3rd most read book in the world. It goes the Holy Bible, quotes from Mao Tongci, Harry Potter. So that's all books always ever. So I'll pass it around if you want to look at it. And that's just a visual representation of how successful we're really talking. 8 books, like I said, mostly meant for children, but as Harry grew older, the books got older. You know what I mean? So now you're saying, well, who is Harry Potter? What's a Muggle? What does this mean? I've never heard of him. I know you're saying that. So how about I give you some background information? So I went to this thing called Pottermore.com. It is the family tree of the Potters. That is really a thing. And I couldn't print it for copyright reasons, but it is really a family tree of the Potters. Somebody actually went and did this. That's how popular he is. He's the son of James and Lily Potter. He was orphaned as a child by Lord Voldemort, he who must not be named. Again, muggles. And that's why he's called the boy who survived. He's the only one to ever go up against Voldemort, even as a baby, and survive. So he lived as an orphan until he was 11, where he found out he was a wizard. He got an owl. He ends up keeping the owl for the rest of his life. He goes to a place called Hogwarts, which is the preeminent wizard and witches school in the world. It's also in England. J.K. Rowling is English, so that's why. In later books, you find out America has one, Russia has one, but our books mostly center on Hogwarts. So in Hogwarts, he meets Hermione Granger and Ron, who turn out to be the 3 main characters in all the books. There's Dumbledore. There's tons of other teachers, and Snape, who's a protagonist, turns out to be a good guy, bad guy. We don't know. So it's got a ton of characters. There's 8 books. I'm not going to bore you, but basically he grows up from 11 years old to a man, and he fights for the world. Our world, the Muggle world. He fights for the magic world, and not to spoil it, he wins. So that's just a very quick thing about Harry Potter. So you say those are successful books, right? But it's 2019. We don't read books anymore, right? We watch movies. Well, Harry Potter is also the 3rd largest franchise ever, movie-wise. According to MentalFloss.com, Harry Potter is the 3rd. I said that. They've sold over $9 billion at the box office. Only 2 franchises can compare. You might have heard of them: Marvel, the Avengers, and Star Wars. So I mean, like if you're going up against those three, I mean, you know, the Star Wars came out in the '70s. Marvel's been making movies 10 years with Endgame this year. I mean, you can't compete with that. But so $9 billion at the global box office, I think for children's books is pretty good. They've put out 11 movies if you count the Wizards and Witches books movies. Just to put that into comparison, I told you the top two. But if you think about it, they're better than the Fast and the Furious, Jurassic Park, favorite of mine, the James Bond, all 26 of them. And once again, it's bigger than Lord of the Rings. So, you know, and that's I feel like I keep coming back to it because I feel like that's the most comparable thing that you could do. So, I mean, I feel like that just shows that not only are people reading books in an age where people don't read books. The first one came out in 1997. They're also seeing the movies, so it's hugely successful. I think in one day, one book sold 8 million copies in 24 hours. So I mean, we're talking big. So in conclusion, you say, well, that's a lot of numbers, but what does that really mean to me, to you people sitting in the audience? Well, it might not mean much, you know. You might not have grown up like I did reading the books. You might not have grown up like you did reading the movies. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I can say it was the only book I've ever been able to buy my nephew. You know, I started him reading it when he was 11 or 12, about the same age as Harry, and he read them all in 2 years. That's 8 books in 2 years. And in today's age, kids don't read a lot. So if he can get my 11-year-old nephew, you know, to get off his iPad, to get off his iPhone, his Xbox, his PlayStation, I feel like that's an accomplishment. You know, and they're not just for kids. I mean, I'm 36. I can tell you a story when I was 22 years old. TJ, a guy we went to high school with, called me crying at 3:30 in the morning. Spoiler alert, Dumbledore dies, and I didn't tell him. And I mean, it just affected him that much. I mean, these stories are for everybody. I know I got the last book when I was in Iraq, and I'll never forget. I was on mission. I read it for 24 hours straight. You still don't get a lot of sleep in Iraq. I said, well, I'm only got 150 pages. I'm going to finish it. I took it out. We were driving down south of Baghdad on a highway. So I said, I'm smart. I propped the book underneath my 50 cal machine gun, pointed it this way, and I read the last 150 pages. And I would have gotten away with it if I wouldn't have come across another caravan that pointed it out. You know, and that was a bad day. That's how much these books mean to people. They mean to me. They mean to my nephew. You know, we're 20-some years apart. You know, it matters. These books matter. Anything that can get kids reading, anything that can get kids out of the house, you know, with the Harry Potter stuff, is good. You know, Universal just opened up a Harry Potter world in Universal, Florida. That's how big it is. That is how big it is. I heard a joke the other day. Do you know how you can tell Star Trek is better than Star Wars? Disney bought Star Wars. You know what else Disney owns? Harry Potter. And that's my speech. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you.